You've finished your novel. Congratulations. Now it is time to get it into the hands of readers. But wait, you don't just want to throw out your manuscript as is into the sea of thousands of readers. No, you want to take the time to dress it up and make it look like the prettiest book that you can have it be. And I am going to help you take you through those steps. I have designed a step-by-step course to take you through designing your manuscript into an aesthetically pleasing ebook and paperback. So we are going to get started today on ebooks. Welcome back to the Writer's Workshop. I am Lady V, and I am going to hold your hand through this process. So let's get started. For starters, before we get into formatting your manuscript or ebook, always make sure that you have a spare copy of your document. I have the original copy in our working folder here, and then I've put a copy on my desktop that I can work from in editing. Learned it the hard way that I did not have a copy made when I originally started formatting years ago, and let's just say it did not end pretty. So once you have a copy created, we're going to go on in here and turn on our markups. This is going to make it easier to see the areas that you need to correct. The longest process for me on any formatting stages on any of our books is always removing extra spaces. As you can see, I have one here, there's several here, and even between a few here. Alice is famous for leaving me hidden little extra spaces throughout manuscripts, so I take the time before I even delve into formatting and go through and clean these up. Your book will not be accepted through ebook if you do not have these extra spaces removed. So go ahead and take the time to do that now. And I'll show you a nice little trick for these ones that are in between. I want them to all be only 2 spaces. So I'm actually going to come up here and do the find and replace. And I'm going to search for anything that is 1, 2, 3. It looks like we have several that are 3 in here. And I'm going to replace them all with a 2. Alright, so we did that. And sometimes I end up doing this twice just to make sure that everything was caught. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yep, see, it just had a couple left. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. I'm also going to search to make sure there's no 4 spaces. Just to be on the safe side, no 4 spaces. Okay, so once we have everything cleaned up, having your markups on does make this a lot easier. Allows me to see everything that I need to see, making sure that we have all of our messed up areas cleaned up. Good through here. I'm going to scroll to the bottom and just make sure we don't have any down here that need cleaning up. Alright. So once you have gone through the entirety of your manuscript, cleaning up any extra spaces, making sure everything looks good, now's for the fun part. We're going to go ahead and highlight our entire document. If you are on a PC, this is going to be Control A. If you are on a Mac like I am, that is going to be Command A. And from here, we are going to go over to our formats and paragraph. This is going to allow us to start designing our layout. And actually, I'm going to move down here so you can see how this is going to look as we format this. Back up to paragraph. Your indentations you want to leave as is. You don't want to mess with those because that's going to be this over here. What we do want to indent is the first line. Now, most of the time, people, when writing a book, either do as Alice does here and everything is just left justified, or you can do a tab. If you do tab, make sure you remove that before you start this process. All tabs must be removed before you do this step. Or if you just do a simple couple spaces until you have your first line indented. Again, remove those spaces. So Most of the time, you can do anywhere between a 0.3 to a 0.5. I'm going to go with 0.3 on the ebook. And we want a little bit of spacing between our paragraphs, the end of one paragraph and the beginning of another. So I'm going to do a 0.6 just to give it a little bit of space. And you always want single for your line spacing. It's going to make it look nice and tight, but not too spread apart and not too scrunched together. Go ahead and hit OK, and look at that. We have our nice little indent here, and we also have a little bit of a break here as well, where things were just kind of all scrunched up together. We now have it separated, making it easier on the eyes. And we can actually tell where one paragraph ends and where one begins, which is very important. Now, having gone through and done that, we do want to go through our manuscript and anything that we had centered, like our title page, chapter headings, and even any scene breaks that you might have within your manuscript. You're going to want to go ahead and make sure that these are all centered. And a good way to do that is you can kind of see it's a little more over to the right than I would like it to be. So just go all the way to the left and then pop it back to center. You can see where I did not do this one. I didn't pop it all the way to the center. And now that we have everything from the left to center, it's a little off to the right. So that's what we're going to be cleaning up here. Just go through and go ahead and do that with all your spots that you wanted centered. Now, to speed this process up, if you wanted, you could easily come up to your find area and look for your 3 asterisks as Alice has for our scene breaks here. And that's just going to take me through to all the scene breaks that she has throughout the manuscript, and I can literally just go from one to the next and clean those up pretty rapid fire. You can do this also with your chapters if you have, chapter written at the beginning of your chapters like Alice has here. You would type in chapter and do the same thing. If you have your chapters as actual titles, that's not really going to work too well. You would have to go through your document one at a time at that point. Now, you can leave your scene breaks with just a simple 3 asterisks like this, or you could do like your little, I'm not even sure what you would call this, but I call it the little squiggly. And you can always add that in as well. If you choose to use any art for your chapter breaks or your scene breaks, I will go over and show you how to enter that as well. So that way you can have some really cute designs throughout your book. If you have an emblem that really resonates with your story or your series, we will go over that shortly. Alright, I'm also going to go ahead and do chapter as well, just so I can go ahead and get those over into the center. Alright, and then seeing here, I actually only have 11 chapters, so when I get to number 11, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down because I know that this book also has an epilogue, and I want to go ahead and get that one over to the center as well. Alright, that looks great. Now, one more thing that you do want to do is, you probably already see that I have it this way, is you always want to make sure with your ebook you don't actually have to have everything starting on its own page, so each chapter does not have to start on another page down here. For an ebook, you just need to have about 3 to 4 spaces between area that you want a break or for it to go to another page. So I've already got extra spaces here between our chapters, but if you did not, if your manuscript just already had here, you would simply add a couple spaces, or if you had a lot of spaces like this, you would just shrink it down until you had the few that you need. That is going to do it for today's class. You've started the process of formatting your book. Pat yourself on the back. Next episode, we will be going over any little notes that are in our book, text messages, notes that your characters may be reading, italicizing those notes, making them look good and stand out in your ebook, as well as images. So definitely look at coming back for that. And until next time, don't stop learning and never stop dreaming.